Yo, what's going on guys, it is Cynnnical, and today for you guys I'm bringing you a discussion video, one that's actually quite hilarious, and it's something that is actually discussed a lot in amongst the Kingdom Hearts community, and that is of course talking about Captain Jack Sparrow being a Keyblade Wielder, and the same kind of goes for Leon as well. I wanted to do this discussion video for some time now, even though it's not something that desperately needs to be talked about. It is something that is quite interesting, and I do want to lay out my opinions towards this. I heavily believe that, well, Captain Jack Sparrow as well as Leon will not become Keyblade Wielders. Now, in case you guys aren't up to speed, pretty much we know that both Captain Jack Sparrow as well as Leon have actually held Sora's Kingdom Key or his Keyblade in Kingdom Hearts at some stage in time. Those are literally the only people who aren't Keyblade Wielders who have actually held the Keyblade before the Keyblade actually disappeared out of their hands. Now, through that, a lot of people have actually speculated that, well, perhaps maybe Sora has mistakenly performed the Keyblade Ceremony on perhaps Captain Jack Sparrow or maybe Leon, who really knows. So I'm going to be laying out kind of my thoughts and opinions as to why I believe they are not going to become Keyblade Wielders. So let's get on with the video. So first of all, let's talk about Keyblade Ceremonies, because I think that's actually quite important to go over, as it's a major factor that is going to contribute to this whole Leon or Jack Sparrow situation. So Keyblade Ceremonies, we've seen them being performed before, and that is of course in Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep. We've seen both of these being performed by, of course, Aqua and Terra. Let's talk about Terra's one, because Terra's one is actually a Keyblade Ceremony that was performed purposely and not accidentally, unlike Aqua's one. So Keyblade Ceremony is simply when a Keyblade Wielder sort of allows another, I suppose you could say, like, person to pretty much like grab their Keyblade, and through that this ritual happens, and eventually in the future they will acquire the power to summon forward a Keyblade. Now, there are actually requirements in here, though not officially stated through the lore of the game and stuff. It's pretty clear to see that the person that is having the ceremony performed on them sort of has to have specific requirements, and I would say that those requirements are, you know, to have a good wisdom, good strong heart, good desires and stuff like that. And of course Riku, by the end of where we're kind of up to right now, it's pretty clear to see as to why he ended up as a Keyblade Wielder, because he is very passionate about his friends, he's very protective, he's very loyal, he's more straight-headed now, he's not kind of confused with everything, he understands the balances between light and darkness, and you can see his heart is definitely capable of being a Keyblade Wielder. Now, in Aqua's kind of situation, she didn't necessarily purposely perform the Keyblade Ceremony on Kairi. Kairi more so kind of just grabbed the Keyblade, and through that she actually became a Keyblade Wielder. So this was kind of done more so on an accident, but you can kind of tell that from the first kind of glance of Kairi and Aqua meeting in Radiant Garden. Aqua knew that Kairi was a special girl, and through that I suppose you could say that the power that was already in, you know, Aqua in terms of performing a Keyblade Ceremony, it automatically sort of just transferred over as soon as Kairi touched, you know, Aqua's Keyblade. So that was more so done on accident, but I suppose you could say that Aqua already knew deep down, without actually mentioning it, that, you know, Kairi had a strong heart and that one day perhaps maybe she'd be able to wield the Keyblade. So let's talk about the whole Leon and Captain Jack Sparrow situation. So we know already that both of these characters in Kingdom Hearts have already held Sora's Keyblade in their hand at some stage in the game. Now, Sora was very, very new to the Keyblade, basically when Leon held the Keyblade, so more so we're going to actually be focusing on Captain Jack Sparrow. So of course in Kingdom Hearts 2, Captain Jack Sparrow at the end of the Port Royal world basically says that he wants to become a Keyblade Wielder, and at some stage in the future he will be able to wield one. Of course, Sora allows Captain Jack Sparrow to hold the Keyblade, and the Keyblade sits there, you know, for a very small amount of time, and then it eventually disappears. Now, this is a point that a lot of people argue to. You actually apparently have to be a Keyblade Master in order to perform a Keyblade Ceremony. Now, the thing is, of course we know that when Terra performed his Keyblade Ceremony, he wasn't a Keyblade Master. In fact, as of right now, you know, Terra never became a Keyblade Master. But however, It wasn't really just due to the fact that Terra wasn't strong enough to become a Keyblade Master, but it was more so his heart wasn't capable enough. Of course, we know that Terra succumbed to the darkness so easily through his kind of power trips and stuff like that. But in terms of strength, I suppose you could say that, yeah, Terra was already at that Keyblade Master level. But in terms of that, that's all pure speculation and kind of rumors and other people's opinions, because in terms of that sort of stuff, it isn't actually officially and clearly stated through the laws of the actual game. So currently right now it's actually very unknown as to whether or not you actually have to be an official Keyblade Master or not. But for one thing, we do know that at the time of Terra performing his, of course, Keyblade Ceremony on Riku, he was not a Keyblade Master and he still isn't to this day. We do of course know that when Aqua did hers accidentally, she was already a Keyblade Master. So at the moment it's very 50-50 as to what the right or wrong answer is, so I don't think we can really go off the basis as of right now that Sora can't actually perform his Keyblade Ceremony because he's not a Keyblade Master or he's not strong enough, because I think that is actually an invalid statement. Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to stick up for Jack Sparrow, and I'm not trying to say that, oh, okay, he is actually going to become a Keyblade Wielder, because personally I feel that, you know, that's not actually going to happen. It really isn't gonna happen, well, at least from my perspective. And the reason why I say that is one of the things that I was mentioning before was, in order to become a Keyblade Wielder, you have to actually have a very, very strong heart, you have to have strong desires, and I just don't really feel like Captain Jack Sparrow meets those requirements. I mean, maybe he might in Kingdom Hearts 3, but I don't know, Captain Jack Sparrow being a Keyblade Wielder, knowing the requirements that you need to become a Keyblade Wielder, I just don't really see it. He doesn't really want to visit outside worlds and stuff like that. I just, you know, in terms of the requirements, Captain Jack Sparrow, I mean, he doesn't really kind of fit those. And I mean, not only that, but he is a Disney character, and I feel like the only Disney character that should actually wield a Keyblade should actually only be Mickey, and I suppose you could say and Sid as well, because we already know that he was once a Keyblade Master, now he is retired, but I think only those two people should actually have Keyblades, but all of the world characters should remain with their own kind of world-specific weapons. One last thing I thought I'd mention is the fact that the Keyblade actually disappeared out of the hands of Captain Jack Sparrow and Leon as well, and I think that's enough to say that at that point, the Keyblade actually rejected inheriting the power towards Captain Jack Sparrow or Leon at that very point in time. You'll notice in Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep during the ceremony towards Riku and Kairi, the Keyblades didn't actually disappear, they rather just kinda stayed there as a normal idle kind of weapon that has no magical powers whatsoever. And that's enough to say that through that ceremony, they were then granted the power to wield the Keyblade in the future. Now of course that's only my 2 cents on the situation. Who freaking knows what's going to happen in the future of Kingdom Hearts? Maybe Square Enix might turn around and surprise us and say, you know what, Captain Jack Sparrow is going to become a Keyblade Wielder, deal with it. But honestly, I don't feel like that's ever going to happen, and I know a lot of people actually scratch their head and actually ask the question of whether or not Captain Jack Sparrow will actually be a Keyblade Wielder through seeing that cutscene in Kingdom Hearts 2. But anyway guys, that's just my 2 cents on the situation. If you have a theory on this, put it in the comments section below. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed today's video, and until next time guys, I'll catch you later. Peace.